Are you serious? Is there an actual meltdown happening at a nuclear power plant here in America, just out of Omaha, Nebraska, at Fort Calhoun? What? Are you serious? We don't know. We don't know. But there's some reports that are leaking, that are coming out all the way from Russia, because they have to be notified if there's ever a nuclear disaster or level 4 emergency ever released. Now, the Russian Federal Atomic Energy Agency says that they have been contacted by the International Atomic Energy Agency that there has been a problem in Fort Calhoun nuclear power plant in Nebraska. Because of the Missouri River flooding, they're saying there's potentially some of the rods that have been in the cooling may have been compromised. Now, I'm going to read to you, but I'm going to cover this both sides. We want to be a balance on this one. This is too important. Now, quickly, let me read this to you, because I want you to understand what's being said. A shocking report prepared by Russia's Federal Atomic Energy Agency on the information that was provided to them by the International Atomic Energy Agency states that the Obama administration has ordered a total and complete news blackout relating to any information regarding the near catastrophic meltdown of the Fort Calhoun nuclear power plant located in Nebraska. So they're saying it has not actually melted down, but level 4 emergency. Now, according to this report, the Fort Calhoun nuclear plant suffered a catastrophic loss of cooling to one of its idle spent fuel rod pools. This happened on June the 7th, 2011. We're just now finding out about it because you couldn't, because there was a news blackout. After this plant was deluged with water caused by the historic flooding of the Missouri River, which resulted in a fire. And that fire caused the Federal Aviation Agency to issue a no-fly zone over top the area. Now, since when does a flood cause a no-fly zone? It's because they said there was a fire. But if there is a fire at a nuclear power plant, you got to be concerned about the story, right? But there's been a news blackout. Now, let's go on. This nuclear power plant is located 20 minutes outside of downtown Omaha, Nebraska, the largest city in the entire state of Nebraska. The Fort Calhoun nuclear plant is owned by the Omaha Public Power District, who is on their website denying that their plant is at a level 4 emergency as stated. But now I've went to their site and they're no longer denying it. They're saying, but that's not how a level 4 would be released. That's not how we would release the alert. Okay, so there's a lot of legal jargon going on here, and you know right now the attorneys are involved. I want to read a little bit more, but first of all, it says here, but the Russian atomic scientist in this FAAE report, however, say that the OPPD statement is an outright falsehood, as all nuclear plants in the world operate under the guidelines of the International Nuclear and Radiological Event Scale, which clearly states that the events occurring at the Fort Calhoun nuclear power plant do indeed put it at a level 4 emergency category of an accident with local consequences, thus making this one of the worst nuclear accidents in United States history. What? Are you serious? The Russian scientist says this is the worst we've ever had, yet we're not hearing about it because there's a news blackout. We're not seeing it because there's a no-fly zone. We're not around it because we're not allowed to get there. Is FEMA in part of this? Of course they are. That's why there's 800 FEMA camps in America that the government denies exist. What? Why? We're talking about the new Madrid fault line. We've been talking about the Sanhedrin fault lines in California. We've been talking about the volcano, super volcano under the Yellowstone National Park. Now we've got a nuclear plant in the heartland of America in Nebraska that potentially could have a meltdown. Certainly is at a level 4 emergency, although it's not being released as that. But the Russians say you have to say that based on the agency's guidelines. Now let's not stop there. Let's be fair. So quickly, Let me go to the Flood Rumor Control website. It's the OPPD website. It's official, called Flood Rumor Control. You can Google it and find it. In their control, here's what they're saying. Because since there's a news blackout, you're not going to find out from vested professional journalism. You got to have some preacher from northern Indiana who does Bible prophecy, who tells you that we're coming closer to the new world order, to break down things happening in your own backyard. Just like yesterday when I told you the Chinese have bought 50 square miles in Idaho. They're going to build their own little city, self-containing manufacturing plants, hospitals, fire stations, homes, suburbs. They're going to live in their own little place in America, but it's going to be owned by the Chinese. What? Now listen. The rumored Fort Calhoun nuclear station is at a level 4 emergency, or level 4 alert, they call it. This terminology is not accurate and is not how emergencies at nuclear power plants are classified. Fort Calhoun Station FCS declared a notification of unusual event on June the 6th and is the least serious of the 4 emergency classifications established by the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. They have, FCS has declared a NOUE because the Missouri River was projected to reach 1,004 feet above the main sea level. It actually reached that height on June 9th. The FCS plant's reactor has been cooled on a cold shutdown for planning refueling outage since April 9th. But it will remain in that condition until these rivers recede. The reactor and the spent fuel pool are in a normal, stable condition, are both protected. There has been no release of radioactivity, and none is expected, okay? Now, there's a rumor that there's a no-fly zone that was set up around Fort Calhoun Nuclear Station because of the release of radiation. This is not true. There is a no-fly zone, but that's due to a fire, not the flooding. But the fire, how long is the fire going to burn, guys? Today is June the 17th. We're talking 10 days. How long are we going to keep us away from flying planes? I watched a video of a local reporter there out of Omaha, Nebraska, who literally is floating on a boat on the Missouri River because it's a public waterway, and he floats right by the plant. He's filming it. The water's halfway up the buildings. I mean, we're not talking about down by the footers. I'm talking halfway up buildings that are 4 stories high. We're talking about a huge flood. We're talking about there's no way the system's working right. I don't know what's happening. I cannot say for sure. There's no possible way. Why? Because there is a news blackout and a no-fly zone. But Russia is reporting that this is a serious problem. Now, you can even go to the Washington County Facebook page, Washington County Flood, and you can see there about road closures and don't drive over here. You can't get within 100, you can't get within, I don't know how many miles of this place. There's maintenance going on Highway 75. There was trees down on I-29. Road is closed due to excessive flooding on Highway 14 and Road 35. You can go to their Facebook page if you want to. It's Washington County Flood Facebook page. They got their own, so they got a flood rumor control website. They got their own Washington County Flood Facebook page, but the Russians are reporting that this thing is real. What's going on? We don't know. Are we ever going to know? You see, folks, the world is coming to this point. We're going to have a one world government, a new world order. We are going to have it. I call it the beast because the Bible refers to it as a system, a beast that must be worshipped, a beast that must be honored, a beast that will have a one world currency, and the technology for you to buy or sell will be based on that microchip system, which will not only have your medical records on it or your GPS to where you're at information and your birth certificate, your social security number, your work ID, but your bank account and account numbers. Everything it takes for you to function in a normal society will be on that little microchip placed in your hand or somewhere, maybe up your hairline or eyebrow in your forehead. Somewhere not visible but easily accessed. And then when you go to the Walmart or any store that you buy or you get gasoline or anything you do, instead of pulling out a debit card, just wave your hand over the scanner and you'll be able to buy or sell. But without that mark, you cannot do it. Now, these things are coming. The one world currency. The currencies are collapsing. I mean, every day, all you have to do is look at the markets, look at the treasury bonds, look at the price of gold, look at the debt ceiling, look at the debt, look at the debt, look at the debt, look at the rioting in Greece, look at the debt in Spain, Portugal. Look what's going on in America. Look at the debt. Look at the debt. China's buying up land in Idaho. China's going to buy up land in Utah. We're going to start selling seaports, railroads. Folks, are you serious? They're going to take over. It's just a matter of time. The question is, during this time, will you be able to serve the Lord? Are you saved? Are you saved? Well, Paul, I'm never going to take the mark. People tell me that all the time. Really? Well, if you can't serve Jesus now, how are you going to handle it then? How are you going to handle it when you have to be eradicated from your house? How are you going to handle it when you can no longer go to work? How are you going to deal with the fact that you have no banking information, no ability to access your cash? Where are you going to go? I know the Christians are going to pull together. They're going to barter. Somebody's going to plant. Somebody's going to have something. Folks, we're not talking about a good time. We are talking about the mark of the beast, a persecution that will come upon the church, upon the Christians and the Jews like never before. I'm Paul Begley. Oh, I'm real serious because we're watching the beginnings of the fall of the great empire of America. America's fallen because of its immorality. It's greed and corruption in the political process that has sold our soul. It's taken 35 years to move our manufacturing base from America to China and around the world, but it has happened. Now we're watching the fall of the dollar. It's embarrassing what's happened to the American dollar. It's embarrassing. The corruption. And then you got this Anthony Weiner guy going around sending lewd pictures to 17-year-old girls. And this guy still was getting 56% of the constituents in New York still want this guy. We're sick. We've become a sick, corrupt, perverted society, and we're headed down. We're going to fall. And the question is, will you be saved? I'm Paul Begley. I've got a lot more to talk about today, but this is a critical story. So there you are. Stay with me. It's going to be a powerful day. Oh, no. Somebody better pray.